All right, well, gonna give this a try. A mutual friend of many of ours, Kat, gave this a try a few days ago. I thought it was interesting, so I thought I'd give it a go. I'm probably gonna try to do something like this once a week, maybe twice, for varying degrees of time. I don't know how long it'll last, but it seems interesting. I've thought about this for probably a couple months now. Uh, the most obvious topic for me would be D&D, something a lot of you know that I do fairly often. And I think I finally been playing it long enough, absorbing enough of the content that's out there now, and hopefully have sort of matured enough in my D&D playing and sort of D&D theory that I might actually say something occasionally worth listening to. So, sort of preamble aside, this first attempt at a D&D video is going to be on something that I like to play as a character and a concept that I enjoy a lot, mostly just in concept. I don't think I've quite learned how to play it as well as I want to, which is the idea of lawful evil. Um, for those of you who have never played D&D or don't know a lot about D&D, in D&D there's something called an alignment system. This is a system of 9 alignments that varies from lawful good, think Superman, all the way to chaotic evil, the two extreme ends of the spectrum. Chaotic evil, the poster boy pretty much being the Joker. And you have various heroes and anti-heroes and downright villains throughout media, pop culture, that you can slot in to sort of explain each set of alignments. Lawful evil would probably be best personified as Darth Vader. A very strong code of morals, a very firm and well defined idea of what is right and wrong. And oftentimes, for a lawful evil character, at least a well represented and well fleshed out lawful evil character, you get the evil guy who thinks they're the hero. So, Darth Vader, by no stretch outwardly for most of the series, believes he is evil. In his mind, the chaos brought by the rebels is actually the threat to order and stability that the universe is in desperate need of. They are the cure for what ails the universe. So, lawful evil individuals, characters, often see themselves as the hero of their story. He is here to do right in the wrong. He is here to save others and bring them to the light. Uh, in my forays into trying to be a lawful evil character, uh, I have failed to properly think about what are the motivations of this character that would make them lawful evil. I don't want to be chaotic evil because I don't just want to watch the world burn. I'm not the Joker. Uh, but no, I didn't want to do that, didn't inform my character creation enough on what it means to be lawful evil and what it means specifically to my character, to me. So I knew I would have a code, I knew there would be conduct, I knew there would be lines I wouldn't cross, but the exact nuances and the exact details of these things eluded me. I didn't put enough thought, I didn't put enough preparation to doing them. Uh, Probably the most recent attempt I had at doing this, uh, where I was showing lawful and hints of evil, uh, I I threatened in character another player's character in the game for a weapon that this dropped from a bad guy. And while I knew that my character would not severely harm this individual for this weapon, I don't think my character had shown enough of his, when I say something I want it done, this is my line, don't cross it, to set up that interaction. So, very understandably, the dungeon master, the person in charge of telling the story of the game, pulled me aside just to verify what it was I was trying to do. And it was very casual. It wasn't a I'm concerned about this, but he asked, what are you trying to achieve here? And I explained that my character is trying to assert dominance over the situation and trying to show that I am the leader of this party and that I will take what I want when I want it, and still have room to be magnanimous when it so suits me. The dungeon master was okay with this, and we continued with this scenario as it went, and I got the weapon. But I realized that that could have gone very differently, and in a worst case scenario, that could have ended up in what's known as PvP, player on player violence. Uh, and that would have been the worst outcome, and that would have made me sad because that was not truly the goal. Uh, so that is something that I'm still trying to learn and still trying to understand and conceptualize and internalize the idea of what it means to represent oaths or beliefs, structure, ideals, but not necessarily be a good guy, not necessarily be someone that you would want on your side or on your team, not the guy you would look for help, unless maybe you didn't care about how it got done. So that's definitely something that I want to work on. Uh, I think that my experience is somewhat similar to a lot of things I see online in various Facebook groups and some conversations I've heard had, uh, people retelling stories of players that they've interacted with over the years, and it's that people don't know how to play lawful evil. Um, it is important, as I said, to know your beliefs, your tenets, your rules, your lines. It's also important to start with a very basic understanding that at most tables, when you're playing D&D, people didn't come to fight each other. Uh, it's not true for all tables, not true for all experiences, but for the most part, people come to have a cooperative experience. And it is usually the dungeon master's goal to create a cooperative experience. Uh, so when you create this character, when you sit down at the table with this character, you should be, your goal, your first, I won't do this, should be, I won't just try to kill the party. Uh, that ends poorly. That can end in bad feelings amongst the actual people sitting there, not just the characters who are now dead. And it's one of the fastest ways to end a campaign because characters fight each other and they can't really play together anymore. The other one is what's known as being a murder hobo. This is very common, and this doesn't only apply to lawful evil characters. This can just apply to any random table of people just, one would say, dicking around. They just go out, their idea of a good time is, oh, you bothered me, I'll kill you now. Because there are no real world consequences. Which brings me to the idea and the important part. One of the reasons why I like evil characters, be they lawful evil or chaotic evil, neutral, is as a person, I strive to do right. I strive to treat people with respect and decency, be it common or uncommon decency at this point. I try to uphold what I perceive to be higher moral values, and I very much so believe in law and order. I definitely view role-playing games, RPGs, which D&D is one of the greatest of, as an opportunity and an outlet to get out any frustrations or to express what I think most of us have, which is maybe that little dark piece of your mind that you like, nope, that's not acceptable. We can't go there. Don't do that. Don't entertain those ideas. And it gives you a venue and an avenue to maybe let some of that out in a healthy and constructive and useful way. And I was having a conversation with a housemate last night, talking about the idea that Without any evil, good becomes the oppressor. The idea that there's balance, there's yin and yang, and applying that to oneself. If you completely ignore the duality of one's nature, which I think most of us recognize we have, you end up hurting yourself, and you can end up creating a caged animal within yourself that one day may break loose. I'm not concerned about that for myself, but I do believe that it's healthier to fully explore and realize all aspects of your personality and your character. And playing role playing games is a great chance to explore and maybe amplify certain parts of your personality that don't get as much use, don't get let loose as much as you would like. So, moving forward with playing evil characters and people's understanding of how to do them, what made your character evil to the rest of the world? In D&D currently, there's a debate whether or not alignment is a straitjacket. Is it too constricting? Is it too limiting? Is it outdated? I am definitely of the opinion that alignment is a very useful and, in my mind, awesome tool to help express sort of the morality of the universe and where you more or less fit on that spectrum. I definitely also believe, as with many things that can be good, the D&D alignment system can be used to actually be that straitjacket that I don't think it should be or has to be. I definitely believe that people have had experiences where they are forced to behave in a certain way because that's what their alignment says. Or any little thing they do, it's breaking their alignment. There's a punishment or consequence for it. The alignment system represents a cosmic ideal and set of codes that no mere mortal can truly and purely uphold. The real world analogy would be various religious books around the world. Pretty much no one successfully upholds every single tenet of those books and those scriptures the way that even that person believes they should be. So you do the best you can while recognizing it is beyond you. You do what you can. So in D&D, it is much the same. Why would you try to apply such a broad and grandiose structure to something so fragile and so flawed like a mortal? You know, be it human, be it elf, be it dwarf, or any of the fantastical beings that exist in the D&D world. I believe that alignment should represent two things. And it's why actually there should be two instances of alignment in D&D. There should be the alignment that you write down on your character sheet, what you use to track all the things your character is, represents, abilities, powers, weaknesses, what have you, in the game. What you write down there is how your character perceives themselves. Now, that is somewhat informed by what you want your character to be, but in the case of Lawful Evil, you recognize your character isn't the nicest guy, but he has a code, he has goals, he has a purpose. Gonna make this happen. Maybe break a few eggs on the way. And then I believe there should be an alignment that is for the dungeon master or game master, whichever term people like to use nowadays, which is how the world perceives this character. And this gives you the fluidity and the sort of a more complete scope of what this person's alignment really is. Because you can say your character is chaotic good. I would say an example of chaotic good would be most of the rebels, actually, in Star Wars. They have good goals. They want freedom. They want equality. They seek to break away from oppression. But do they have to kill some people to do it? Will they lie, steal, and go outside the law to achieve it? Certainly, if necessary, for the greater good. Robin Hood would also be another example of chaotic good. Um, so, let's say you say your character is chaotic good, but as you're playing, your behavior, you're not really nice to people. You you do break the laws. Maybe you kill a few too many people unnecessarily. You're tripping old ladies, something like that. Uh, at any rate, time goes on, and though you still perceive yourself to be chaotic good, and maybe more or less you represent it slightly, the dungeon master, the GM, now has the power and opportunity to look at the the breadth of your role playing in the game now and say, up until this campaign started, this was your life. Your life was you're a chaotic good player. But in the events that have transpired recently, your behavior has shown a tendency or leaning towards neutral, maybe chaotic evil. Um, and this gives the dungeon master and the player a chance to actually have a conversation about what the character is trying to achieve and how their behavior is being perceived by those around them. The dungeon master representing everything else around them. Uh, I believe that the alignment system should be fluid. The idea that it is fixed and set in stone, and that from the moment your pen touches paper or your finger types it on the keypad, that this is what you are and you cannot change. That is also an unrealistic expectation, unrealistic representation of what a person is. As we all know, we go through many phases in life, we go through many stages. Uh, these stages can radically change who and what we are. We never wake up the same person we go to sleep. So I like some realism in my, fantasy games. So I like these moral ideas and these moral quandaries being brought in to the fantasy world. So as in real life, when I say you never wake up the same person you went to sleep as, why would your character wake up the same person they went to sleep as? Your character is having life experience. Your character is doing things, seeing things, experiencing things. All of this adds up to affecting their outlook on the world, how they interact with things. So going forward, my goal and what I would hope to suggest to others who want to play maybe more edgy characters that have a higher propensity for derailing campaign experiences because of their natures, is to stop. Once you say, I want to play lawful evil, chaotic evil, what have you, why? How? And then once you think you have those things figured out, still stop and say, okay, will this actually work with a team of people? I fully respect the idea of being true to the character concept you've dreamed up, but I think it's also important you have to fudge it a little bit. You want to enjoy playing this game with your friends, maybe new, maybe old. And while being true to your character is very important, allowing for an experience that can be prolonged and be enjoyable for everyone is also very important. And on average, I would say you will get more enjoyment and more pleasure out of maybe tweaking a little bit of your traits, a few of your personality quirks, maybe giving a little more flexibility to some of your ideas and codes, such that you can justify in character how you're going to work with this group of people who likely aren't all evil aligned in some way. I see lots of posts about why would you allow a lawful evil character in a game with the proverbial knight in shining armor, a paladin. likely to be a lawful good character. These two individuals are destined to clash. They are meant to fight each other, both cosmically and just in the real world. Um, and I think a lot of times, yes, that can be done poorly, and that can result in a premature end to a campaign because, yes, they did have to fight. One of these characters can't stay because they are they are offensive and intolerable and intolerable to the other character's goals, and it's mutual. Um, so, learning how to make use the for the evil character, as the onus is honestly on the evil character, as you are expected to be somewhere between neutral and good, generally speaking. The onus is on the evil character to figure out how to work this goody two shoes, as it may be, into their plan. Um, what use do you have for this walking, talking virtue post? Uh, and maybe you just view them as, well, look, I must be a good guy. I'm standing next to this person. Would this person keep bad friends? Guilty by association, innocent by association. Uh, that's one of the ways I think you can sort of work through that. Also, and this is something that I think requires patience and just experience, which is learning to use sabotage and sort of backroom dealings to manipulate the party into doing what you want them to when you're an evil character. This can be a lot of fun for all parties involved, especially when you're dedicated to being in character and you're, as a character going through the world, if you don't know that someone in your party is corrupting or misleading you, and you take the information you're given, you make the decisions you make based on the information, and then much later, hopefully, you find out that, oh, wait, I was lied to? I was deceived. I trusted this person. Hopefully, this occurs after some epic battle or after the party has, achieved many of their goals and they feel like they're ready to really, either go to the next level or maybe it's retiring time. Maybe they've righted the wrongs that were around them. Maybe they've made a boatload of money. Their friends and family are safe, and maybe it's time to build that castle or retire as a fat rich noble. And then the other shoe drops, and you find out your friend, that person that you went to battle with, you went to war with, that person that you crawled through that disgusting leech infested swamp with, actually got to the courier that delivered the king's note first and changed it. That informant that you guys had hired, he was paying him twice as much to deliver you very specific and misleading information to get you to do things he wanted you to do. And that can create fascinating role-playing opportunities and fascinating growth for characters, as how do they deal with the idea they've been lied to and misled? Are they enraged? Are they depressed? Do they immediately go out and seek out this person and look for answers? Do they just shrug their shoulders and go, well, what's done is done, nothing can be done? In the scenario of the lawful good paladin, lawful evil character, likely also a paladin of sorts, you expect there to be real and substantial conflict there when this is found out. But I think this is a nice start to the idea of talking about sort of D&D and character alignments. I don't want to run this too long. It's evening, obviously. I've been a little under the weather recently, and this is one of my first times out of the house. Got a little bit of a heat exhaustion, it seems, from the other day playing tennis. so I can't sleep right now. But I hope you guys find this interesting and maybe a little informative. And maybe there'll be more of these. So thanks a lot.